Building Committee meeting to order. I'd like to acknowledge public participation, if I could, on March 29th.
Governor Healy signed into law an act which
among
other things, extends certain provisions of the open meeting
law
that
that allows remote and hybrid options without a quorum, the public body physically present at a meeting location and to provide adequate alternative access to remote meetings. That's that. Our next order of business is approval of meeting minutes. Do we have any questions or comments about the meeting minutes? Hearing none, I would take a motion to approve the minutes.
So moved.
I have a motion from Mr. Fisher.
Nancy, could you make that a second?
Sure.
Very good. Second, Ms. Sullivan. Let me poll the committee. Mr. Fisher.
Yes.
Mr.
Barrow.
Yes.
Dr. Kenny.
Yes.
Ms.
Ms.
Gallivan.
Yes.
Ms. Gasitz.
Yes.
Dr. Goff.
Yes.
Mr. Fisher.
Yes.
Mr. Connor.
Yes.
Dr. Hahn.
Yes.
Mr.
Mr.
Senek.
Senek.
Yes.
I
I didn't see Jack Hahn raised. Jack here?
Yep.
All right,
All right, Jack, is that a yes?
Yep.
And I vote yes, it is a vote. Our next order of business is the project status update. Kate, over to you.
All right.
I'll hand this over to Griffin or Joel. Not sure
Alright,
if
fine.
Montaigne will be taking the update.
I'll take it, Kate. Thank you. So the picture here, kind of that same view we've been looking at for the past couple months. It's a little hard to see from up here, but along the roof edge, you can see some of that roof edge metal is started. So they worked their way around A building. I think they're working into C building now. As far as exterior finishes, Mason is complete. There's one or two loading areas they'll have to come back and finish once we are done loading material into the building. You can also see on the roof the mechanical rooftop units. So those actually got delivered the week of the holidays while school was off. So those got hoisted up on the roof and they'll start doing the connections there. Also in this photo to the, I had this one too probably, at the gym where you can see like the white openings there towards the roof level. Those are the translucent panels. Those are starting this week as well. So you'll start to see those going around the perimeter of the gym there. Moving into the interior, so the flooring has started on the first floor of A building. You can also see in the photo on the right there, the epoxy floor in the bathroom is finished in all of A building. And then wall tile is also complete. So you can tile in the corridors and then wrapping into the bathrooms as well. And then that photo on the left, you can also see kind of on the right side of the wall there, lockers are starting to go in. So flooring will be progressing on the first floor of A and then into B building. These photos here of the kitchen. So MEP rough, ongoing overhead here. Those white walls, kind of hard to tell on this picture, but that's the FRP on those walls. Kind of like plastic paneling. In the next week or so, we'll start seeing some of the kitchen equipment coming in. So those guys will be coming out to the site, start hooking up some of that stuff. And here's the gym and the all PE spaces. So you can see in this photo as well, kind of towards the roof level where we have all that temped in with poly just to keep the building tight. That'll start coming out and the permanent translucent panels will be going in. You can see on the steel there, all that white, that's your intumescent fireproofing. Moving into the auditorium, so same thing with the steel up there. You can see the intumescent fireproofing is complete. At the top of the photo, you can see the handrails on the catwalk. Those have been installed. And there's a ladder kind of towards the back of the picture that'll get you up there. And this is a photo of the canopy at the main entrance that has been going on past week or so. That'll be finishing up this week. And then also kind of in the background at the main entrance where that big curtain wall is, where you see the white around it, the metal panel there being installed, and then kind of in the front of the picture here at the media center at the roof edge as well. That'll all be happening in the next week or so. And then just kind of big picture, you know, stuff that's going on, stuff that is completed since the last time we met, and then a couple weeks out for deliveries and different site activities that'll be ongoing.
Any questions on the look ahead? And construction progress to date? No. Hearing none. I will hand it over to Joel to provide a GMP update.
All right, thank you, Kate. So at this point, we're better than halfway through the actual construction process, and usually a good time to kind of do a full-scale review of where we are financially and kind of give you guys a peek behind the curtain of how we're doing financially so far on the project. So if you remember back to around this time last year, we executed a GMP, a guaranteed maximum price with the town. That was that $92,568,764 number. So within that number, we have what's called the CM contingency, and through the terms of the project, that's standard 1.5% of the whole GMP. So on the day last January when we signed that contract with the guaranteed maximum price, we had $1.388 million in our contingency. And that's a pool of money that is controlled by Fontaine and allows us to either buy things that are in the project that we didn't anticipate, or we didn't quite purchase correctly with subcontractors, or we may have missed, or things that would come up that we wouldn't have anticipated. That's what that pool of money is there for. So that contingency number goes up and down through the project through a couple different ways. The most common way is that we encounter issues that we didn't anticipate that we have to spend out of that contingency to resolve. So that the next line down draws through 1/12/24, that $59,000, $59,571 to date. So halfway through the project, we've only spent $60,000 of our contingency. It's kind of an indication just that things are going really well. And every time I say that, I knock on wood. But generally speaking, we're not encountering a lot of issues to date that are generating cost against our contingency. So within that 60 grand, there's a couple things that come to mind that came up. Like we didn't buy this. There's in TAPA's drawings, there's spray foam at the roof drains. We missed that. We had to hire a spray foam guy to come in and do that. So that's a cost that goes against that contingency. It was in the drawings already, so we own it. So we got to pay for it. That said, that's a very low number to be at right now. Typically, we'd be, have a much more significant spend against that. So that's great news for us. Dropping down to that next line item, the buyout savings. So when we signed the GMP in January last year, we had 27 different trades that we still had to negotiate pricing with and buy out, reach final contract amounts. So that was the landscaper, the demo guy, the fence guy, the signage guy, carpet, wood flooring. There were 27 different trades that we still had to negotiate to get to final contract values. And through that process, we've also realized for the project another $717,000 in savings that also goes into that CM contingency bucket. On top of that, there's also a scope hold section in the GMP. Scope holds are typically things that we've identified that we know we're going to need to buy or anticipate costs, and we kind of put money aside to deal with those costs. And we are also at this point, we're comfortable exhausting, closing out a few of those scope holds. And that's resulting in, we've got $556,000 coming back to our contingency. We've run into a couple overages in the general requirements section. So that's like our costs to manage the project, our laborers on site cleaning up and so forth. So we're going to have some money come out of our contingency to backfill some of those costs. So all told, right now, where we stand today, we've got basically $2.3 million sitting on our side of the ledger in our contingency under Fontaine's control. And just looking at what we've got left, what we know to be risks going forward, that's more money than we feel we need. And at this point, we are recommending, we would like to, if the town would be open to it, propose to return some of that funding back to the town now, to the tune of about 820 grand, so that could be used to put things that have come out of the project back in. I know we've been looking at a VE list for a while, but we're approaching the town because we're in such a great financial position right now with the opportunity to do that. And that would still leave us with 1.5 million in contingency to get us through the rest of the job, which is better than I started with on day one. And we're more than confident is more than enough for us to get through the rest of the job and deal with any unforeseen stuff that we're going to encounter. So one other note on that. So this is the VE list stuff that came out of the project during design to cut budget. So this is, Kate's got these kind of itemized things here. So these have all been priced as change orders. And whenever we price a change order, there's a standard markup that goes onto the change order. So in our contract with the town of Walpole, it asks for, it's a 5% markup by the construction manager. And basically we would take the subcontractor's costs and then identify 5% of that on top of the cost. That would then go to cover our costs to administer, manage, supervise that change order. And then there's an additional 1% that would get added to it to cover our bond. Because at the end of the project, our bond will be adjusted to whatever the final contract value is. So in essence, every one of these change orders that you see itemized here right now has 6% of Fontaine Brothers cost on it. And because the money that's in our contingency has already received markup at the time of GMP, basically you don't have to pay the full change order rate. So there's actually, if we do it this way, if we were to fund through our CM contingency and kind of give that money, allow that to go through our contingency, there'd also be a savings to the town of, we've got it itemized there, be able to knock 3% off, and the town would save $25,000 just by doing it in this way. And they still get all this stuff added back in, and we would still end up with a very comfortable contingency to get us through the rest of the job. The other thing to note is, like, there are things on here on this list that may take a while to order and to implement. And it's the kind of thing, like, if you waited till the end of the job and tried to add them back in, there's a chance we can't get them done before school starts, things like that. So there's benefit to us if these things are going to get added back in, that they get added back in now so that we can effectively manage them within the scope of the rest of the project and schedule them effectively. So that's kind of my big picture update on where we are with our contingency. You guys have seen the progress on site. We're doing very well schedule-wise, and I think we're also doing very well financially on our side of the ledger. And that's kind of big picture where we're at today.
Thanks, Joel. Nancy, you had a question? Unmute yourself if you could.
Thank you. Yes. Well, first of all, thanks to all of you guys, because that's very good news financially. It's what we thought was going on, but it's good news. I guess my question is, you're talking about the CM contingency money, and you're talking about that that's on your side of the ledger. Am I correct that there's additional contingency money on top of that?
Yeah, so any contingency that you would be paying for change orders and things like that prior through, and Kate, you can probably speak to what the buckets of contingency on the owner's side are, but this is money that's fully within our contract right now, and on like our side, and independent of any contingencies that you have as the owner.
Yeah, so we have the construction contingency, which currently has 4.2 million in it. And then the owner's project contingency, which has 1.7. So we have just under 6 million in addition to what Joel was talking about.
Thanks. That's what I was thinking about. And I know we also got good news from MSBA in terms of an adjustment that they made. Does that have anything to do with either of these contingency amounts?
It doesn't have anything to do with these contingency amounts. We're reviewing that right now, what came in that adjusts some exclusions that were currently listed in the PFA bid amendment. So it shifts some money that was previously excluded from being reimbursed to now be included in reimbursement. But that is
on my end, it's completely separate, just to cut to the chase.
yeah.
Wait, what does that mean?
Completely separate from this. We're actually working with Kate and legal counsel to get some decisions on this, but it has no impact on this matter right now.
Okay, but it is additional money that's in the good column, correct?
We're working on it, Nancy. I don't want to give you an answer because I'm still trying to work through it with counsel. It's definitely not a bad thing. I'd say,
Okay.
yes, it's in the good column.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Mr. Fisher?
Yeah, Joel, just a couple. You said on your side, right now, you're at 2.3 million approximately in your contingency,
Yes.
and you want to return 820,000 to us for whatever we may want to do with it, and you're going to be left with 1.5.
Correct.
Are you comfortable that 1.5 is enough to get you all the way through the end, including the demolition and the final site work that has to get done?
Yeah, I am. I would not have proposed this, brought it up, suggested it if I wasn't fully comfortable with it. I have had jobs in the past that I've run out of contingency, and for comparison, what happens if I run out of contingency is basically Fontaine Brothers ends up being on the hook for additional costs. That has happened to me before, and I would not take that decision lightly. I feel very confident that we've got everything bought out properly going forward. We will still have a number of hiccups, I'm sure. That's part of the job, but I'm very confident that we'll be in a comfortable position with that remaining contingency.
Okay, thank you. And on the other side, Kate, you said I think there was $4 million plus $1.7 million in two different contingency buckets for the town?
Yeah, we have 4.2 million remaining in construction contingency, and then we have our owner's project contingency, which has 1.7. And we'll talk through that with the furniture discussion a little bit later. But yeah, we have right now just under 6 million in the two separate contingencies from the owner's side.
Right now, have you identified anything big beside the VE list and the furniture overrun to go for that against that 6 million?
So we're still working through the technology package. We're getting numbers right now. Typically that comes in slightly over, but it shouldn't be a huge hit, and that's what owner's contingency is designed for, to absorb FF&E and IT. So besides that, from a construction point of view, I don't see, knock on wood, any big change orders coming down the line. Right now, our PCO log holds about $12,000 in the credit value. So.
Okay, thank you. And then to Jim, one quick question. If we are successful in bringing this in under budget, what happens to that money? Because it's already been borrowed.
The money, whatever money that already has been borrowed, I think will be used. The money that hasn't been borrowed, we will have to figure out how much is needed, and it's really gonna be, I need to see the final, but if we already borrow the money, we'd have to either reappropriate it, or put it towards another project with a town meeting vote. I don't know what that final balance is gonna be.
Okay, but it could be used for another project if town meeting votes on it.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question.
Yes, Jack.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't agree with we can just keep moving money. This was an override voted for a specific project. I went through this in the library, so you just can't move it from project to project to project, because what that would set up is every project in the town you want to do, you inflate it by 30% and keep on moving it. To me, the town meeting, I mean, the people in the town voted for the override for this. So whatever they're paying their taxes should not be moved to another project.
Good point, Jack. Anybody else? Questions or comments? All right, Kate, we want to continue?
Yep. All right, so just for reference, there was a site plan that noted the items on the last page and where they are in relation to the full site plan. And then project status meetings held. So we continue to have weekly owner, architect, contractor meetings. They're called OAC meetings on a weekly basis. We have hot list calls every Friday. The technology meetings are ongoing bi-weekly, and our furniture, fixtures, and equipment meetings are ongoing. Transition, move management meetings are ongoing. In terms of construction administration, TAPE is on-site weekly, and their consultants are out as needed. PSI, our third-party testing agent, is out on a regular basis, reviewing fireproofing, intermescent paint. We completed the window testing and ABB testing. Document control, submittal review is ongoing. Request for information, RFIs continue to be submitted and turned around quickly. We currently have 251 to date. Architect supplemental instructions, ASIs, continue to be issued by TAPE. We have had 2 since the last building committee meeting. And we have 1 new proposed change order on the log, which is a credit value. So to touch base on the furniture, fixtures, and equipment package. So I wanted to give a little bit of history on how this budget line item was created. So we have a line item in our budget for furnishings of $1,629,000 that was developed during schematic design. Breakdown of that is $1,800 per student. $1,200 per student is reimbursable by the MSBA, and then there was $600 added on top of that. And that number was based on the original Kennedy Middle School furnishings budget line item, and that school opened in 2021. And just a reminder, the Walpole Middle School furnishings budget was not increased since schematic design, knowing that the owner's contingency would be able to supplement it if needed. So we did go through multiple rounds of VE. We didn't reduce or add to the furnishings line item based on other requirements of the project. For reference, Kennedy Middle School, again, original budget was 1.7. They were over budget by $439,000. So their total revised furniture budget was $2,234,000, and that was in 2021. And they have their design enrollment was 1,000, so they're a little bit bigger. But where we landed for the Walpole Middle School project with the design enrollment in 905, we have our original budget of 1.6. Our bids came in over budget at by $858,000. So our revised budget right now is $2,487,000. And that's obviously in 2024. And just for reference, DeFora, who is our furniture consultant, noted that escalation is roughly 5% per year. And then they usually account for 10% for delivery and install. So I think those are good numbers just to look at when we're talking through this. So what is the furniture, fixtures, and equipment? It's everything that, like, if you dump the building upside down, the pieces that'll fall out. So it's loose furniture, loose equipment, and it does not include consumables. So we have our original DeFora estimate, our bid value, and the delta. So the package was broken out into a public bid package, which included some furnishings and the equipment. We got pricing off the MSBA Collaborative Purchasing Program, and then the rest off at MHEC and state contract. So our initial estimate was $2,069,000, and on bid day we came in at $2,487,000. So we had a $418,000 overrun from where we thought we were going to be. That being said, the equipment was higher than expected, but 118,000 of the 253,000 music was over, and then also kitchen smallwares was over by about 94,000, and that's for the central kitchen for the district. I think it's important to note that there's nothing out of the ordinary in this furniture package. It really sometimes just districts are able to reuse like music equipment and bring it over to the new school. But the furniture working group really believes that we need to outfit the new school with new music equipment, and have really vetted through this equipment package multiple times. So just to talk through the process a little bit, we had our kickoff meeting for furniture last June. We've had weekly and biweekly meetings from September through December. And there was furniture delivered to the Johnson School in November for a sit test. So people were able to see the furniture. In terms of the equipment lists, they were developed by the departments and thoroughly vetted with the FF&E working group. These are all needs. There's a lot of stuff that got pushed back on. And these items are all needs of the building. And this is really the chance that Walpole has to get it right. So I do want to note, after we got our bids in and we were over by 418,000, we revisited this entire package to see if there was anything we could push back on. And we really feel that everything in here is a need of Walpole, and we're asking for approval of the $2,487,963 for the furniture, fixtures, and equipment package.
Thanks, Kate. Anybody have any questions? Nobody has any questions or comments? Jack, please.
Kate, I think what I heard from you is basically we're not reusing almost any, there's almost nothing that we're reusing from the original two schools. Is that true?
We're trying to outfit this school with new furniture, so everything is uniform, new equipment, so it's brand new on day one. It can last for the next 20, 30 years. And, music, I think, I can let the departments speak to that a little bit more, or the school district, but from what I've heard, they've really cut back on the budget the last few years in preparation for this new building opening and to get what they need for the school. So teachers really are going to be given, 2 or 3 crates, and they're going to pack up their belongings, and we're going to move it from the old building to the new building, and we're going to start fresh.
So could I add, Kate, my understanding is as well that the high school and the elementaries are going to cannibalize a lot of the furniture from the 2 middle schools. So it's not as if nothing's going to use.
Yeah, we're doing a complete inventory list of the Byrd and the Johnson schools to see where the furniture and equipment can go in other schools in the district.
Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, I would take a motion to approve the FF&E package.
So moved.
Motion from Ms. Giositz. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Mr. Barrett. Let me pull the committee. Mr. Frischia.
Yes.
Mr. Barrett.
Yes.
Dr. Kenny.
Yes.
Ms. Gallivan.
Yes.
Ms. Giositz.
Yes.
Dr. Goff.
Yes.
Mr. Conroy.
Yep.
Mr. Fisher.
Yes.
Mr. Connor.
Yes.
Mr. Hahn.
Yes.
Mr. Senek.
Yes.
And I vote yes, it is a vote. Next, Kate?
Just to summarize, this is the furnishings line item, so everybody's familiar. And then the overrun would come out of the owner's contingency, which we have the 1.7. So remaining in owner's contingency would be the $850,000. But that being said, we went into construction with 2% in owner's project contingency, so we're still in good shape. In terms of the PCO log review. So we have one new PCO, 52 per ball valve, that balancing valve. This is a credit of $4,121. It's currently being reviewed. And there was in the assembly, there was 2 ball valves at this location called out, and there's only one that's required. So it's a credit value. And this is what I was referring to before. In the 4 open proposed change order, it's a credit value of $12,445. And I would also like to note, now that we're 59% complete with construction, we've only spent 10% of our construction contingency, which is very good. Vendor invoice package for December. I'll just review it really quick. It totals $6,999,375. It includes a Vertex invoice, TAPA's invoice. We have a New Wave invoice in here. This is bringing the town fiber over to the new building. The full New Wave estimate is $28,515. So the first invoice was for $23,515. We will see a second invoice come through. We have a Hanover insurance invoice. This was just the difference of 3 days for the builder's risk policy for $474. Fontaine's contract for $6,778,839 for the work that was completed in December. Showing that we're 59% complete. And then the budget summary. An update where we are with the propane submissions and reimbursements. And so we're looking for a vote for $6,999,375.49. I'm sorry, $375.49.
Thanks, Kate.
Thanks, Kate. Do we have any questions? Hearing none, do we have a motion to approve the vendor invoice package?
So moved.
Right, I have a motion from Ms. Gallivan, a second from Mr. Fisher. Let me pull the committee. Mr. Fisher.
Yes.
Mr. Barrett.
Yes.
Dr. Kenny.
Yes.
Ms. Gallivan.
Yes.
Ms. Gaositz.
Yes.
Dr. Goff.
Yes.
Mr. Conroy.
Yes.
Mr. Fisher.
Yes.
Mr. Connor.
Yes.
Dr. Hahn.
Yes.
Mr. Senek.
Yes.
And I vote yes. It is a vote. So next, Kate.
Communications to and from the MSBA. So we had our last quarterly change order submission in the beginning of December. Our monthly MSBA site visit was January 3rd. The next one is the beginning of February. And the MSBA project funding agreement bid amendment number 1 was executed by the town and the MSBA. And Vertex has updated the project budget, which is column F, accordingly. So just for example, the bid amendment is now reflected in this first column on our budget, and any budget revision requests that happen between the first project funding agreement and the amendment number 1 have now all been rolled over into column F. So the budget is up to date.
Thanks, Kate.
And then the next meeting is February 13th.
Any final questions or comments? I would take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I have a motion from Mr. Barrett, second from Mr. Fisher. Let me pull the committee. Mr. Fisher.
Yes.
Mr. Barrett.
Yes.
Dr. Kenny.
Yes.
Ms. Gallivan.
Yes.
Ms. Gaositz.
Yes.
Dr. Goff.
Yes.
Mr. Conroy.
Yes.
Mr. Fisher.
Yes.
Mr. Connors.
Yes.
Dr. Hahn.
Yes.
Mr. Senek.
Yes.
And I vote yes. Good night, everybody. Thank you.
All right, thank you.